we have to go into an executive session.
So you want me to leave?
Well, at that moment, could you just sit on the veranda outside for, yeah. We'll offer you drinks, whatever.
Pickles, would you like some pickles?
Non-alcoholic coolers, what are they
I have
called?
to test them.
Are we gonna go
I'll do
after
whatever you guys
the main part of the,
No, in the early and then in
Oh,
later
okay.
too.
Oh,
So we
okay.
have to discuss something. So,
okay, we're all set.
we're all set? Okay. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Trustee Cheney?
Here.
Trustee Foster?
Here.
Mayor Newhart?
Here.
Trustee Calora?
Here.
Trustee McKnight?
Here.
Stephen Gaba?
Present.
And Mike Mosier is absent.
Yeah. Before we get going, I think the whole community is aware of the terrible accident that happened on Route 94 with one of our youngest patrol officers or policewoman, and her name is Jordan Tetrault. And I just, on behalf of the board, I wanted to just publicly tell her that we are thinking of her and that we wish her the best in terms of her recovery, and we just are behind her in our spirit and our love. So. And may I have a motion to accept the minutes of June 5th, 2023, the village board meeting?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And a motion to accept the following reports. June 2023, Clerk's Office, Tax Collection, Justice Department, Planning and Zoning, Building Department, and Department of Public Works.
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. And a motion for authorization to pay all approved and audited claims in the amount of $148,475.74.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And the first announcement is about the village bulk trash pickup. And Barry, could you give us that?
I'm looking for it. I don't-
Here you go.
The Village of Warwick will conduct a bulk pickup of household items beginning August 28th, 2023. Items acceptable for pickup include such things as furniture, mattresses, rugs, etc. Please refer to village website for the complete list of bulk trash requirements and regulation. The village is asking residents to place metal items separately for recycling purposes. We will not pick up garbage, leaves, brush, tires, barrels, paint, drain oil, construction debris, computer equipment, appliances such as refrigerators, air conditioners, televisions, washers, dryers, stoves, etc. We will pick up 2 cubic yards, approximately 1 pickup truck load. Trash in excess of this amount will be left for the property owner's removal. All items are to be at the curbside by 7 a.m. on the day noted below to ensure pickup. Once the area has been picked up, there will be no return trips. If you belong to a homeowners association, please contact them directly for further instructions. The village will be divided into 2 areas to be picked up. Area 1, August 28th, 2023, north side of the railroad tracks. Area 2, September 5th, 2023, south side of the railroad tracks. As a reference, Village Hall is on the north side of the railroad tracks, and Railroad Green, Railroad Avenue is on the south side of the railroad tracks. Please refer to the village website for map and street listing details.
Good. Thank you. And also, we have a letter from the Planning and Zoning, AHDRB Secretary Maureen Evans, announcing her retirement. And I just wanted to say that we will miss Maureen. She's been here, she's been working for the village for over 24 years, and she's been an incredible asset. And also, really a person who has tremendous knowledge about the workings, the mechanisms of our building and planning department. And so we wish her the best. We wish her only the best, and we will miss her. So, under correspondence this evening, we have a report from Village Attorney Stephen Gaba regarding the petition for a zone change on 4 Overlook Drive. And was there anything in that report that you wanted to discuss with the board at this point, or do you want to wait until the next meeting?
I'll be happy to discuss it now. I think the sooner you can give them an answer, the better off you'd be. I'm sure everyone's read my report letter. I'm sure you've read Dave Getz's letter. There's a number of questions that need to be answered about this application. I trust this has been forwarded on to the applicant, both these letters.
I don't believe so yet. Oh, they have? Okay,
Okay,
good.
good. So hopefully we'll hear back from them. But regardless of what it is that you may hear back, I would urge the board to consider whether you want to go forward with a zoning change application, or if you want to have them go to the zoning board and seek use variance if that's what they need. As I point out in my report letter, there are a number of uses that are allowable under the GB zoning, and they may not be appropriate for this property. If the applicant were to come forward with something like a restrictive covenant on the property, maybe then you might entertain the application. Further, these properties, as Dave Getz's letter indicates, have had issues on them as far as development goes for quite a long time now. And before you entertain granting a zoning change, you would, I would think, want to have the applicant come in and explain what they're going to do to clean up 2 and 4 Overlook before you open it up to all sorts of other development. So those are our thoughts on the matter. The board can proceed, or you can wait to hear from the applicant, or whatever its pleasure may be on this.
I think we should wait for the applicant. My question to you, though, isn't there a what is it called, a
Overlay?
overlay zone? Thank you.
Office overlay?
Oh, office overlay zone?
Well, there may be, but they're not asking for that.
I know, but I'm just saying that is also maybe more restrictive in terms of what is allowed.
All right, I'll look into that just to make sure, but even if it is more restrictive, I would still think that you'd want to hear from them about what the nature of the existing uses are.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
What they propose to use it for, consider sending them to the ZBA, and of course, the outstanding issues about, cleaning up the issues with the property or something, I think you're gonna wanna know. But I'll look into the overlay issue and send the board an
Okay.
email on that.
Okay.
Mayor,
Yes.
is it possible in our deliberations to require that the applicant provide a site plan for Overlook?
Yes, well, 4 Overlook's the one that they're looking for the zoning change, not 2. In terms of secret review of this, it's my opinion that whether the development is approved or not approved, they're going to need site plan approval. I don't think there's a site plan in place for it now.
There's not.
And so there should be a coordinated review if you go forward with the zoning change between this board and the planning board, with the planning board being the agency. The easiest way to do that would be if they had a site plan in front of them, they could address all the environmental issues much better than, just looking at a zoning change application. So I think that's something that should absolutely occur.
So
if you're going forward.
we would advise the applicant of that?
Yes, if you're willing to entertain an application for a zoning change. Even if you're gonna send them to the ZBA, I would still recommend that there be a coordinated review with the planning board and submission of the site plan.
And going to the ZBA would be a pretty long list of variances that they would,
Well, first and
Likely
foremost,
need.
they need a use variance as
Right.
far as that goes. I don't know what the bulk requirements, which ones they meet and which ones they don't. I imagine there are some, whether it's lot size or setbacks or what have you. But since it's an existing development, they're not proposing any other construction, I mean, look, I can't speak for the ZBA, but I would think that's the least of their problems. The issue's gonna be, do they get a use variance or not?
Okay, well, we'll hear back from you about the overlay zone and.
Yeah, you sent the letters to them, you haven't heard back?
Just that the attorney was gonna forward them to.
Okay, maybe send a follow-up email or something saying we forward you the letters, we're waiting for further comment from you.
Okay,
Then we'll see what you got.
okay,
Thank you.
thank you. And as Steve mentioned, there's also under correspondence, a report from village engineer Dave Getz regarding the petition for a zone change at 4 Overlook Drive, and a letter from the village resident Donna Roberts regarding park and recreation facilities in the town and village of Warwick. And it was a beautiful letter. It was actually in the newspaper as well. And it's always nice to hear, people really remarking at some of the real, true work that's been done, not only in the village, but also the town. And, just the, when I look at over a 10-year period, what has been accomplished, it's pretty extraordinary. And so it's nice. And then we'll go into discussions. The first is the consolidated funding application. And that's something that we're working on in-house. There are 3 grants that we're working towards. One is the water quality,
Improvement project.
projects, thank you, WQIP. And for the first time ever, they've added dam rehabilitation projects. And we have had a dam rehabilitation project on paper for many, many years, waiting for something like this to happen. So with the help of Tectonic Engineering, we're moving forward with that application. We are also working on a application under zoning, and for rewriting our zoning document and looking at the possible hybrid capabilities or possibilities of creating a zoning that was, as they call it, Euclidean and also form-based zoning. And Peter Fairweather, who worked on the comprehensive master plan, is working with us on that, especially with the numbers. And then the other project that we're working on is for a feasibility study for a multi-use trail parallel to Route 94, which, although it's in the town, it would be a way for village residents to reach the markets, both Price Chopper and ShopRite, and as well Penning's Market, and also for farm workers to get to Penning's orchards. So as anybody who's driven along Route 94 has seen, people walking along what is the narrowest shoulder on any highway or roadway we have in our community. And this would also be a recreational piece as well, and which it winds through historic sites. It's pretty interesting. So so that's another kind of exciting application that we're putting together. It initially, and I don't know if you want to talk about it, it was initially part of the larger federal grant that we were working on. And do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure. We had initially submitted for the multi-use trail under the RAISE grant application, which we did not receive that funding, but we did a substantial amount of work in scoping that, developing a schedule and a cost estimate and the steps to complete that, as well as begin conversations with New York State DOT and the county planning department and the town on how to make that happen. So we're going to roll that effort into the CFA.
Yeah.
Do you recall which program that's being we're pursuing that under?
Thank you for,
That one is,
Is-
the feasibility study is through the Mid-Hudson Economic Development.
Do you remember
Council.
the title of the program though?
it is
I have it at my-
planning and feasibility.
That's what it's called?
Yes.
Okay. And then just a quick note, the WQIP, the deadline for that has been extended to August 11th. I don't know if you knew that, Barry.
No.
That was emailed today because Governor Hochul extended that deadline for the WQIP, also for the WIA and the IMG grants, as well as the Green Innovation Grant Program, Engineering Planning grants, and the non-agricultural, non-point source planning and MS4 mapping grants. So
Okay.
the one that applies to us is WQIP.
All the technical grants, yeah.
Yeah, she extended those because of the flooding.
Okay, makes sense.
August 11th.
Yep. But all the other CFA applications still keep the same deadline.
You had me excited.
I know, I was excited earlier.
Yeah, Rena excited too. Yeah.
It's great.
So that's where we are with that. And then the Environmental Bond Act, and that, something you can tell us about.
Yeah, I wanted to just make the board aware, so the Environmental Bond Act that was approved, that passed last year, and I think it's about $8 billion that goes toward a variety of different project types across the state, and they're undertaking, so a big portion of that money actually is going towards some of the grants that we were just talking about, but they are undertaking a listening tour to kind of get feedback about what kind of projects, and then there's a form that we can also fill out to indicate the kinds of things that we would like to see funded. And there's a virtual meeting that's going to be held on July 26th. So I would like to attend that. I'd invite the board to attend if you'd like. And then I think I circulated the form for the project ideas to the board.
That's good. Thank you. And then the third item under discussion, the town, in their last meeting, declared a moratorium on battery storage units, and the question was whether we wanted to follow suit after that.
What would be the basis for the moratorium, since right now we don't have anything that regulates battery storage? So would it be to put regulations in place? So
I mean, there is a,
would the town do 90 days, or?
this, I don't know.
Moratorium should be enacted by local law.
Moratorium,
Yeah, and usually you do 6 months.
okay.
I mean, you could do shorter one if you want, but I don't think you've started anything on battery storage, so you're kind of starting from square. Or maybe not, maybe you have.
Well, that's from the Department of State, right?
Right,
Oh, okay.
NYSERDA,
Well,
yeah.
all right, so you're halfway on square one. But you're gonna wanna consider zoning amendments, and you're gonna need to look at comp plan, you wanna talk to the planner. Are there proposals to put battery storage?
There is already a battery
I
storage,
know that, but I
yeah.
mean, you can't kick them out.
No,
You can
no.
just-
But the question is whether this should be across the board, because there are individual in residences that do now a battery storage program in their homes, you know, and they're working with the utility. And so they're usually in their garage, and Orange and Rockland is promoting it.
Well, if you have an answer to that, it makes it so much easier. You can draft your moratorium accordingly with exceptions.
Yeah,
If
Just,
you,
just, just so you guys know, I'm here as a battery geek, so I work for a manufacturer and I deal with these kind of issues all the time.
Mhm.
So there's a ton of standards out there that would, this is just my suggestion, that would need to be applied.
Do we need to wait until public comment?
yeah, if you don't mind,
No, no, no.
but I appreciate that.
I'm just
Yeah.
letting you know. so-
Okay, well, so you're next.
Soon.
But thank you, I appreciate it.
the other thing you can do is have a hardship provision where people can come in and say, we want to be exempted. Here's why. We've
Uh-huh.
already got this underway. You know, we've made contracts, we have obligations, you know, let us go forward. We're a small operation. So you could build it in that way if you
Right.
don't have out and out exceptions that you want to build into the moratorium. That aside, you could, you know, make it across the board with the exception, hardship exception provision.
Right. So, I mean, Convergent went through the paces, you know, through the planning board, and basically did everything by the book in terms of, you know, its emergency plans and, you know, everything that would maybe be in a local law.
What were they, I'm sorry to cut you off, Michael, what were they approved as? 'Cause I didn't
They
see
were
any
approved
zoning
as
ordinance battery storage.
a,
Warehouse, storage yard?
I'm just trying to think, it's something facility, a utility
Is it
facility,
utility?
yeah.
Okay.
Energy,
It's the name, battery energy storage system.
right, but it wasn't, that was not in our zoning. So it was, what was in our zoning was rather broad, but it was enough that they could hang their hat on,
Yeah.
so.
I said, what do you most like? And so that's what they went with,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
But they also, so my understanding is that they followed all the proper procedures in terms of permitting, but then what they actually installed was not what was permitted.
Yeah.
Is that
How
right?
is that?
The centipede, when
The
they,
centipede,
when they
because they were
presented
approved for a
it.
GE.
Yeah.
But that only deals with them not maintaining or giving us a new emergency plan. That was the emergency response plan that talked about the GE units.
And they
So-
did use GE units, actually. They used units from many different sources. And I found that out because I asked them about it, and they said, well, and so the centipede is something else. It's not a battery. It's the system that feeds the batteries.
Oh, okay.
It's an inverter.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So,
There are two issues with the zoning. The first is, where are you going to allow these, what districts?
yeah.
And second, when you do allow them somewhere, what are the regulations that you're going to apply to them? What are you gonna say to the planning board, they have to meet A and B and C and D, and, you know, you report from this call and a study in regard to that. That's the type of thing that you would, I would think, be adding to your zoning code, and that's why you enact a moratorium for longer than 90 days, because unless you're gonna, maybe the town's got one, you can just copy it, I don't know, but I mean, aside from something like that, you're gonna need time to study it and put it together,
Okay.
and figure out what's right for the village.
Okay.
So,
Well, I just wanted to start the ball rolling in terms of thought and how to do it, if that's what the board would like to do.
If you want a local law imposing moratorium, I certainly can draft one, and then you can circulate the draft, you say how you want it changed, you go from there.
What are your thoughts, board?
I'm willing to consider it.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Okay. And then the last topic under discussion is elective pay.
Yes.
And Carly, you brought that to the
Yeah.
table.
So one of the, I mentioned this, I think, a meeting or two back, that the Inflation Reduction Act, one of the things that it creates is about $280 billion worth of tax incentives for a variety of different types of activities. And historically, tax incentives, they say tax incentives, they have only been eligible for folks that pay taxes. But now they've created, there's about a dozen different credits that are called, they're calling elective pay or direct pay. And so that means that tax exempt entities like local governments can actually receive direct payments for investing in certain types of activities and products, as well as producing renewable type energy. So there's a webinar tomorrow that I'm inviting the board to attend. These elected pay credits will be available over the course of the next decade. There's one that is being released in 2 different rounds. It's called, there's a lot of numbers associated with these. It's called 48C, but if we have like our wastewater treatment facility or any industrial related facilities that we develop a strategy to reduce the greenhouse gas emissions by at least 20%, we can get up to 30% reimbursement on that investment. So that's something for us to be thinking about in the future. We're gonna miss the round 1, but I think that's okay, because I know we don't have like projects ready for that, but the round 2, I'm not sure what the timing is gonna be. That's the only one you have to submit like a full application for, but it's something for us to watch and see, and also think about, whether there's anything that we wanna be doing in that
Sure.
regard.
Yep.
But then also, for investing in hybrid vehicles or electric vehicles, there's a credit for that. And you can get, I think, up to $40,000 for like really big vehicles, and then like $7,000 for, smaller ones. And there's a list of vehicles that are allowable. And so there's, for all the other elective pay opportunities, other than the one that I was just talking about, with the 20% greenhouse gas emissions, in the fall, they're gonna open up pre-registration. And so we have to go in and we have to pre-register, and like generally you can receive reimbursement for the year in which you make the investment. So like, let's say we invested in hybrid or electric vehicles this year, Then by April 15th, so then in the fall, we would pre-register and we would submit the VIN and whatever. And then by April 15th, we would have to file for that. And then we would get the reimbursement. Other kinds of things are for anything that we do related to energy generation, so solar type stuff. I think it's no, it's not. Never mind. Sorry. But like if we invest in solar, a lot of folks are investing in renewable natural gas and stuff. So that's eligible. And then if there's anything that we're doing where we're generating electricity, you can be invested on your capital investment. That's called an investment tax credit. You can also be reimbursed. Sorry, I said you can be invested twice. But you can be reimbursed on your investment. That's an investment tax credit. And you can also be paid for the amount of energy you produce. And then, so that's also like an opportunity.
What
So-
time is the webinar?
It's at 2 p.m. And it's a lot of really intense tax language in all the code and everything. So I think that, we may need some sort of tax support to submit on these things. But one of the things we should be doing is thinking about this magnitude of potential opportunity this could bring for us, and like if there's any projects we think we want to expedite, or what is our investment going to be looking like over the course of this next several years in terms of any of the types of projects that are eligible, because
Yeah,
then we
that's
can
great.
be developing a strategy and deciding how to go after it. But it does seem like, at least on the investment tax credit side, not the greenhouse gas emissions one, but at least on that side, it seems pretty straightforward. It's just like where the complication comes in is figuring out exactly how much you're eligible for, because like your baseline credit for some of these is pretty low, like 6 or 15%. But then if you do prevailing wage or you do apprenticeship, when you, for the project, then you get bumped up more. And then if you have like workforce development stuff involved, it's all the stuff that like the Biden administration is super excited about. Like as you add more of those in, you can get more and more. And so some of the credits give you reimbursement if you stack it all up to like 60 or 70%,
Wow.
which gets in the realm of like a very serious grant,
Mm-hmm.
but you don't actually have to compete for it. It's first come, first serve.
I
So
see.
it's something for us, I think, to think seriously about if it's stuff that we think we're going to be investing in over the course of the next decade.
Cool. Thank you.
That's great. And it's also incentive to do, investments in like electric vehicles. So that's great.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Any questions for Carly? Now we have public comment. So,
Well,
if you don't mind, just state your name for the record.
Doug Detmers, Warwick, New York. I've
Yeah.
been a resident for almost 35 years. I live in the town. I'm not part of the village. But I was kind of interested in, obviously the current events with the battery systems here in Warwick. And I work for a battery manufacturer and have been selling really not lithium products like or in energy storage, but for over 20 years. There's a lot of code issues that are still in play all over the country. The DOE is probably the best one that is the best source, for information on standards. And then the other one is FM Global. FM Global is the largest insurer in, these large data centers and large battery banks. And they have a pretty strict, code of really application and then compliance with the products, okay? The batteries that are there have to pass certain UL ratings, okay? And most of the batteries today, especially the lithium products, are made over in Asia, and they're shipped over here, and they're the ones that have been making the lithium products. And there's really nothing wrong with the application. I'm sure they did everything correctly from that side. But it helps to know, A, the application, and B, that they've met standards that everybody in the town can kind of hang their hat on. I'm willing to send a few documents to you guys that you can review. And one is terms that you can basically get the alphabet soup together and understand what they're talking about. And, you know, just kind of a little guideline for you guys to, something else to look at,
Mhm.
rather than what they're telling you on that side. And I don't, like I said, I'm sure they did everything correctly, I'm sure they're reputable, but it helps to have another eye on that. And I saw you hired a consultant as well, to come in, and it would help to grill them a little bit on their knowledge, you know, for what exactly happened, so.
One of the things that has come to light is that there is no regulatory agency on any of this.
It's just IEEE, okay? So IEEE is really the standard, for most of these things that come out. We have 3 or 4 people that sit on the committee. It's a national committee that writes codes. And they go from everything from these battery energy storage systems to other applications that are out there. All the manufacturers are kind of involved in this, and, you know, there is a lot of play right now on the codes. But there is some national codes, but it is IEEE, and then, you know, New York City is putting together their own set of codes because of the issues that they have as well. But I'll be happy to forward some things, and, you know, there's some other resources that if the board's willing to look at. So.
That would be great. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, because I mean, GE is really not a manufacturer of batteries, okay? So they buy their batteries, they're making the inverter for the system that these, and this is just my guess, my assumption, because I assume this whole system sits online for demand management,
Yes.
where they're basically, you know, and, you know, it's good to know the application that they're using and what it's for, and then that the batteries that they're using have met the basic standards that are out there, so,
Good.
just my 2 cents.
That's good. Thank you.
Keep our people safe here, so.
Yeah.
And not that they didn't do anything wrong, and I'd love to kind of just see what the issues were, you know, with that. And it's happened in numerous, I had a friend actually call me from Chicago on it because he dings lithium fires, you know, as a keyword. And he goes, I think there's a fire in your town. That was kind of freaky, but,
Yeah.
it's, just want to make sure we're doing what we can.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate
you.
that.
That's my
Okay.
2 cents. So.
Okay.
Thanks.
Well,
Is there somebody I can send documents to?
yeah, if you could send it to the village clerk, and then she will,
Yes.
and then she will distribute it.
I just need your email if you.
Absolutely, sure.
Okay.
I mean, it's very easy, it's just clerk@villageofwarwick.org.
Okay. So,
Okay. Good.
Thank you.
you're welcome.
That was very helpful.
$15 megabytes, too big?
Is it for a document to send?
Well, for the email, yeah. Is
Oh, that should be okay.
That should be okay?
Yeah. If you have any trouble, just let me know.
All right. Clerk@Village of Warwick, right?
Yes, .org.
.org. You guys want me to leave now?
Well, we're about to make a motion to go into executive session, so I'm not gonna, we're not trying to throw you out.
No, it's, I don't know how to
You get to leave gracefully.
Yeah, exactly.
I get good, I'm not in trouble. Okay, I'll send those on to you. And
Thank
that's-
you.
That's all I had. So
Okay,
anyway,
well, Doug, thank you
guys
very
have a
much.
good night.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, could I have a motion to go into executive session? Would be that one.
This one?
Yes.
Motion to go into executive session for the medical, financial, credit, or employment history of a particular person or corporation or matters leading to the appointment, employment, promotion, demotion, discipline, suspension, dismissal, or removal of a particular person or corporation.
Second.
Okay. And we will be, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We'll be returning to the regular board meeting just momentarily.
Okay, I'm gonna stop the live
Yeah.
stream in just a moment. Okay, so just a minute, we're still live.
Ari, you can move my helmet. It's in your way.
My battery's dying. My laptop.
You can get a hard copy if you want.